Hey, welcome to episode 5 of DevSpresso JS News. Today with me is Franek. Hey,
Hello. Hello.
and we'll have bunch of news today. There will be the introduction of new Astro, of new Deno, Safari. Uh, I
Yeah.
think
We
React has
yes,
10th
React
anniversary.
React has 10 years already. And also Meta joins OpenJS Foundation. And in the end we will talk about DeviceScript. So yeah.
Yeah. So before we start going with every single thing, let's roll the intro.
DevSpresso.
Okay.
And we're back. So yeah,
Hello. Yeah, let's start with React, which has today reached the 10 years mark. So we have actually checked the repository on GitHub, and it is indeed 10 years old. May 29th of 2013, first commit. We looked through the code. A lot of stuff you wouldn't hear about
oh
today.
yeah,
A lot of Ruby, a lot of the SCSS, a lot of scripting. JSX,
the,
which we found intriguing because we thought it arrived later, but there is already like a binary that does JSX and some other stuff there. So pretty interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that, as you said, JSX was there, but I'm also
Yeah.
surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be, but they used Grunt to build every single
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
They didn't use Webpack on the first run, so
Yeah.
uh, there are a lot of things. And as you said, there was Ruby, and for example, I saw one script in Ruby, which was called React.rb, and
Yeah.
this Ruby code, what it does is actually extending the file path,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's so
Yeah.
weird to see.
Yeah, I mean, the Node.js definitely went made huge steps forward. Before you would use Ruby for that, but it was cumbersome to use Ruby for some stuff, JS for others.
There's
Now
yeah,
it's much easier. So, yeah, a lot of like you can see what they have used, and I think it would be a great learning experience to see how the library evolves because you can see how the ecosystem evolved around it. So you can see, like you said, the
yeah,
grant. I never used grant. I've been when I started developing, there was gulp already, so I used that. But yeah, you went from grant to gulp. Then you used Webpack. You would use npm scripts. Then you would maybe switch from Webpack to something new, like to create React app, which would hide the Webpack stuff. Yeah, so
yeah.
very cool to see how the ecosystem evolved. And yeah, and like people always say that JS ecosystem evolves quick. So yeah, that there's a proof
Yeah,
there in the
and
repository.
it's also very true that like we have 10th anniversary of React, so for 10 years
Yeah,
we are using a library from Facebook. That was Facebook, now it's Meta,
yeah,
and like we are using it every single day. They created React Native around that,
yeah,
and that's so amazing to see how long we have such library.
yeah.
And I think I will have one question though. That's something that I have in my mind. That nah, we have React for 10 years,
Yes,
but
but
do you think we have something else which will be like in next 10
hmm.
years? We'll say, hey, React is bad. Something new is cooler, better, etc.
Uh, I think the most important part of React is the way they have changed the approach to developing UI, where you would write components, and this wasn't as prevalent. You would focus on components, and you
Mm-hmm.
would write the functions that like direct them in the proper places. You would write styles that would make them colorful, and this would be encapsulated in a component, and you would reuse them. And that was like a major leap from the BEM architecture, where you would have to go through these long CSS files or everything. And they like the previous ways was incrementing over the CSS approach, where you would have the cascading style sheets. So this wasn't working for the UI, and then React changed it. They would like CSS in JSX, you would use the JS, of course, in the code. Then you would add the styling to CSS with, like I said, with the CSS and JS6. So this is the different approach, and it worked very well. And all the new frameworks, they do it the same way. There is no like the approach shift. There is no shift. It's just the iteration over it. And I don't think it's worth to switch from React because of the 10 years of like growing of the ecosystem. So it's not worth it to switch from React. And because of that, I don't think we will switch really soon. Maybe if there is something that's as monumental as a switch from CSS, HTML, and JS to the components in React. If something like this comes over, then maybe we'll switch from React. But I don't think so. Like even because of the React Native and how much there is here, right? With Expo, then there is just too much. I don't think there is a thing that would switch us like the way we had switched from other things to React pretty quickly because it was really much better.
Yeah, I have the same feeling as like I can see I already coded some things in Vue. I already tried Solid.js, and what I can see is that their ideas are actually they are born from the ideas of React, and they're just expanding it or changing how things work a little bit, but there is no big shift, as you said. Like there's no saying, hey, from now on we'll use WebAssembly for creating all of our modules. No, it's not going that way. So yeah, I think React will stay with us, and I hope so. It will stay with us, as I do love React and I do love how things work.
I would say I wish it would change because like I also like working in React, and I find it very useful and very nice to work with. The experience is pretty good. But if something comes along and it's much better, I will welcome it with open hands. So hopefully something changes, because that would mean then that something much better was born, and I'm happy to see that. Like yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, 10th anniversary of React. That's big number.
Congratulations, React team. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So let's go with Astro 2.5, and that's a big new version of Astro. I don't know if you used Astro build before, Franek.
I've used Astro. We are actually in the middle of a rewrite of our page to Astro from Next.js. We have used Next.js with Notion as a CMS, and it was working pretty fine for the most part. The problem is Notion as a CMS doesn't really work. There is already a lot of solutions that are much better, like WordPress. It's already done. Why bring another in-house solution with your own quirks and stuff? So we wanted to drop it. We also wanted to use Ghost CMS, so we decided, it's either this or Gatsby, because Next doesn't have these adapters properly configured. It's much easier to do it with Gatsby or Astro. Mm-hmm. So we decided to go with Astro, because Gatsby, I don't know, not the best shape right now, I would say. Like, it was bought out by Netlify, but Astro seems like a better choice at the moment. So we decided to go with it.
Yeah, like, I also do like how Astro grows and what they are doing in changing. Like, and the same as we thought before with React and the shift, the same goes with Astro. Like, Astro is, in my opinion, a Next.js which is even more flexible than Next.js. Okay. But things what it does, like on the very ground level, not very deep, they're mostly the same. So we have new version of it, which is Astro 2.5, and what they added is data collections and references, which means you can put JSON files and YAML files if you want to have it, and that's where you store your data and reference it in other collections. So as an example, you might have a JSON file with your translations, very generic translations as a direct dictionary, and use it in your application directly. And that's pretty cool, but most of new frameworks can do it.
Not a game changer.
Not a game changer. The same goes with hybrid re-rendering, and that's why I'm saying Astro is not very far from Next, because they will allow what they call server routes for your static sites, which means you will be able to pre-render some of your sites on your web page, which is mostly a server-side rendered application. In the end of the day, it's the same as wording in Next.js saying, hey, this page is static, this page is server-side rendered. There is new custom client directives, so new API for integrations, how you load your things, the loading mechanics for clients. Not a big change. HTML minification, again, cool thing. Everyone minifies HTML, and I love that Astro also do it. What I do love though is parallelized in parallel, re-rendering in parallel. So Astro right now can actually render sibling of component in parallel, which means your renders will be faster, etc. So you can actually have multiple components which are loading data and can just run properly. I love the idea.
No blocking.
No blocking. But still, I have one thing: real server components do it a little bit the same. And with going also with Party Town to load third-party scripts and some logic, like probably this worked pretty the same. And in the end, you will have polymorphic type helper, so the component that accepts the same props is built in elements. Pretty easy to understand how it works. I love it. Like in the end, I love what Astro does, and as I said, it is more flexible than Next.js because you can, for example, work with Solid.js in Astro. So yeah, it is cool to use it, and if you think that your application needs more flexibility or you need to change some of your code to be not React but to be Vue or something, with Astro it is very easy to make the transition.
Lovely.
Let's go next.
Deno. That's on me. We have new version of Deno. I wouldn't call it a grand release. I think it's rather a small but nice release. So the biggest thing I believe is that Deno compile now supports NPM packages. So you can compile Deno programs into a single binary, and right now it will, when you import something from NPM, it will bundle it into the binary. So it will not only get all of the files, the runtime, it will also fetch the things from NPM registry. So it will make it very easy to package and redistribute your programs to people. That's something that Node definitely didn't work really well with, and Python historically also fails to do. So that might be pretty huge. And also that's funny because Deno was supposed to be not Node, even though it's like the same letters. Node and Deno. So it was supposed to be not Node, but right now they are working really hard on the compatibility with NPM and Node. So that's I find it a little bit amusing because in the end we are circling again to the same spot. But better support for Node is also in the list of changes. Other big change is the glob support in Deno.json and in CLI flags, so you don't have to rely on your shell to do the expanding of the globs. You can do it in Deno, also nice. And you can use TLS certificates with IP addresses. So very cool. I think there's still the compilation or rather bundling, packaging, however you call it.
It's the biggest one, It's
the biggest one.
I can see one thing. It's I think Deno in that part wants to be compatible with Node, but actually very close to what Golang is trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part. Like they try to make a movement in that case that whenever you do have an application,
Yeah.
you don't need Docker. You don't need to containerize your application. You can just create a binary, put it somewhere, ask your shell to run it, boom, you're done.
Yeah. The biggest problem with that is the ballooning of the binary size, right? Because the runtime is heavy, the dependencies are heavy. So we'll see. They say that they know this is an issue somewhat, and they are gonna improve the situation however they can in the future releases. So at least they are aware. But I think that's the biggest problem. This is like the beautiful part of programming, that this is never a soft issue, because either you require someone to have installed the libraries for a binary, and then you have compatible issues, or you package everything and you redistribute it, and then you have Electron situation where people say, oh my god, it's so much disk space, the RAM usage is high, everything is high, because you bundled everything together to make sure that it will work. So yeah, not an easy situation to be in. We will see how Deno will manage with it. For sure, like you said, it's a very nice solution if you want to create a simple application and you want to just give it to your friend on a pen drive. That's
exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. Okay, let's go then to browsing updates, and that is Safari.
My favorite, always favorite. Yeah.
Safari 16.5, because we have new iOS 16.5 and iPadOS 16.5, and the biggest change, I would say, everyone's favorite actually, and I even mentioned it before when I talked about new Chrome, which is CSS nesting, and that's super important because we right now will be not needing actually having any preprocessors, and I love it due to the fact that right now we have everything in Chrome. So it means Chrome, Edge, for example, Art browser, they are compatible. We have here it in WebKit, so Safari all over the place, of course, if you have your updated device. And then in the end, we'll just be probably waiting, or it is already added, as far as I saw in Canary it was, to Firefox. So if those three major browsers will be having CSS nesting, we're good to go, actually.
For sure, for me, that about the browser support, it's always funny to me, because when you check the can I use, the biggest of the smallest, let's call it, is the Opera Mobile, which is kind of widely used for a mobile browser, especially considering that Chrome comes pre-installed on the Android devices, and you have Safari on iPhones, and then there is Opera Mobile. So that's funny always to me, and they always also seem to be lagging with the features. So something to consider. But for sure, if Chrome, Firefox, and Safari supports it, we're good to go, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. New changes, more smaller ones, I would say. Right now they changed how pseudo classes for the inputs, and those pseudo classes are valid and invalid pseudo classes for your inputs work, because before, to make them smarter, you'll need to add JS a little bit to show, hey, this is how you check if everything works in terms of validation in the input. Right now, you will not need that. Everything can be coded directly in CSS, or at least you can trigger it in CSS. That's perfect. And funny part, those changes are already added in terms of invalidation in Firefox 88. So that's cool.
Very cool.
Right now we have something for Apple's things, Apple Pay on browsers, on the web, supports pre-orders and what they call deferred payments.
Okay.
But I think that's cool that Apple Pay on the web is also
Yes, for sure.
growing, not only in mobile applications world.
Yes.
And in the end, we have something called lockdown mode, which actually works, and it is optional and very extreme option to enable in Safari.
Yeah.
This is designed for someone who is knowing what they are doing and they're very sophisticated in terms of security.
Okay.
The idea is simple. You can disable web codecs API. And that means that if someone is using web codecs, so mostly in YouTube, for example, or in other web players, you'll never be targeted as an attack because you don't have it enabled in your browser. So
Okay.
it means like you can break probably the whole experience, but you don't care about it.
True. I'm kinda like surprised to see it maybe because I believe if you're in such a, let's say, occurrence where you really need something like this, I don't think you would use Safari like like WebKit browser. I think you would switch to something like maybe Tor browser with everything turned off, or something like this. You would use the Tails Linux. I think that's what it's called. So stuff like this, and I don't really see like you're running from a foreign government, or maybe sometimes it does. Like there is only MacBook present. What can you do? You just have MacBook. You have to work with it. So cool to see. Like maybe for this one time that it will like save someone's life. Great. Like
yeah, but it's of course there's more. There are some fixes and bug fixes.
Yep.
One of the most important bug fixes that I will just mention, they are fixing the support for X resolution unit in Calc, and that is big because that's what was mostly having a problem with every single now and then when I used Calc function. It never worked properly.
Yes.
So yeah, that's
Great. Yes. So let's jump to something quick and easy. Because we talked about the React, that it's like live for 10 years, and Meta, which owns like Facebook, and Facebook created React, right? These guys.
Yeah.
So they have joined the OpenJS Foundation, which is part of the Linux Foundation, I believe, which means they will support it with money. And they have also, if you guys maybe don't remember, they have contributed Jest, the test runner, to the OpenJS Foundation. And yeah, like they say, the Meta guys, it's just, let's call it this way. They've been dating for a while. Now they are married, and it's official. Yeah.
Yay.
So that's what happened. Yeah. So great for them. We wish them luck. And yeah, I don't think that changes a lot. They were involved really because they had to be. They had the major framework that drives all of the web development forward. So they had to be involved somewhat. And this is like the people who really know JS, they are in OpenJS. The people that really know JS, they are in Meta. So it only makes sense. So yeah, great to see it official.
Yeah. I already love it. Like it's cool that such big company as Meta is joining a foundation, which is mostly about opening our language and our ecosystem to every single one.
And
so that's
also
cool.
It makes it because the foundation, I think the biggest part of it that they join is like you give them money to sustain an ecosystem, like without an inherent benefit, right? Because foundation is not driven by the gain, but by the benefit.
Yeah.
They will focus on preserving the ecosystem, make it stable. Yeah, so great that because this is mostly about like being a member means you have to fund the foundation. So that's great that they decided they can spare some money to do so. So love to see it. Yeah, like I said, happy for them. Happy for them both.
Yeah. And now the last news, and one of the latest ones. It's called DeviceScript. And
Cool.
that's something I found out about during the Microsoft Build conference. because it was 1 week ago.
Yep.
And they said that, hey, actually, we have something like DeviceScript, but for the low resource microcontrollers or microcontroller based devices. And I was like, what? But I can use Python for that. And right
Yep.
now they said, yeah, you can use Python or you can use TypeScript. And I was like, whoa, that's very cool because I will right now can use the language I use every single day to code in
Yeah.
any device that I want. Not maybe any, but for some of them. And as an examples, we have some, I can see 7 devices based on ASP32 and
Oh yeah.
3 on RP24. 2 of them are Raspberry Pi Pico. One is Pico and
Yep.
one is Pico W.
Yeah.
So that is cool.
Yes.
And if you have any boards and you want to support it, you can add it here, ask for other additional or help them. The
Yep.
idea is simple. You use TypeScript and you have proper APIs to show the, for example, status lights on your LEDs, or run a server on it
Yeah.
during using a proper analog pins or digital IOs. Use a proper low energy mode, etc., etc., etc. So you can actually build the whole logic for some smart microcontroller 100% in TypeScript, and you don't need to use TypeScript to run your create the logic and then run it via Python, as it was
Yeah.
before.
I think also the great thing about it is that they have, it's not only the language or the library, it's also the whole like IDE where you have a simulator where you can run
Yep.
it. You have debugger, you have whatever you need actually, and you have the simulators running straight into in your VS Code. So you install VS Code, you install the add-on, and I guess I have never done it, but it seems like
Yeah,
it from
that's
the
the
website.
case. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
so you
case.
have everything running, and it's not like you don't have, because like you said, maybe the biggest problem is like when you would have much better experience with MicroPython or anything like it, and then there would be no point in going to DeviceScript, because yeah, you can use the same language, but what's the benefit when you cannot have a simulator, you cannot have a easy deployment, debugging on your device? So you have everything like this here. So yeah, it's a pretty, like, of course it's very early, but it's from the coverage, it's pretty complete solution. Of course, everything has a rough edges and it's not perfect right now, but yeah, they have tackled all the issues, not only one. It's not only library, it's simulator, it's debugger, it's the
It's
VM.
Yeah, it's the VM part. It's so cool, and I want to just talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
The what they called a web ASAM VM, which means actually they have a package inside the DeviceScript package, which is a DeviceScript C language virtual machine, and it is compiled to WebAssembly, which means you can just use and write things in C in some cases, and run it via this VM. Because you will be running WebAssembly directly on your device and use it every single thing in one single code base, which will be TypeScript one. That's cool.
Very cool. Like, yeah, I think that's another step towards TypeScript taking over Python, I believe. Because I believe TypeScript was like JavaScript and then TypeScript, but mostly JavaScript. It was something that replaced Python, right? A lot of scripts. So tooling you would write in Python before. There was Ruby also, which was liked by the JavaScript developers, like we saw in the React repository. But right now you have the Deno with the compilation. We talked about it before, and this will replace Go, but also will fill the void of Python where you cannot bundle. It's so horrific. I hate it. Sorry for the rant. Yeah. So it will replace the Python things. It will replace the Go things. And now you can replace the MicroPython things. So yeah, you can cover all the bases with TypeScript. And yeah,
You can learn one language and use it every single way. You want to have a web page, like you can do it. Create the backend, use it with Node. You want to create a mobile application, no worries. You have React Native. You want to run some micro things.
Yep.
Now we have the DeviceScript, so it becomes the whole way around when the first assumption and the first statements of JS was like, we are a very open language for generic things. And that was the statement for Python, and that is the same for JS now.
Yes,
or
exactly.
TypeScript, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you very much, Franek. I think we got it covered for this week.
Yes. I want to add one thing because today's episode was I wasn't expecting to be in it, and I have a pretty lousy setup, let's call it. So if you wanted to know how your podcast would sound on a MacBook, this is how it would sound. Just listen how I sound. And also, I'm sorry for jumping like this all the time because I'm sitting on the ball, the gymnastic ball. So it was pretty tempting to jump. So sorry for that.
No worries. No worries.
Sorry for that. And it was very nice to be here. Great to be here after a long break. And yeah, great.
So yeah, if you have any comments, if you have anything, just comment it down below. Of course, subscribe and click the ring button, ring bell button, so you'll have everything.
I don't know, just do this and we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Subscribe. Yes.
Subscribe. And let's roll the outro.
Hey, thanks for staying till the end. This is obviously outro message with all the links and information that could help you to support us or just contact us. And we greatly appreciate both. This channel is not supported by any big company or organization, so any donation is really gonna make a big difference and will allow us to expand and provide more content like that for you. You can contact us on social media like TikTok or Instagram for now. Also, we have special email address if you'd like to reach out to us or just give us feedback. We really appreciate that and we're looking forward to hearing from you. And if you really think that we've earned it, you can buy us a coffee. Link is here. So thank you again. All the links are down in the description and see you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Okay.